right and wrong, or good and bad. And then about morality too. Morality is morality is sometimes used interchangeably with ethics and
Very good, Asiba, you've done well. At least you mentioned ethics and you mentioned morality. You showed us that sometimes the two are interchangeably used, and you have gone
used
further to even give
interchangeably.
us very good. Well done. It was in the slides. So you have done some reading. Good. Let's hear Evelyn appear. Evelyn, tell us what you saw, anything you saw. It helps us to encourage ourselves that people are seeing things. So if I'm not seeing anything, I have to look well. So Evelyn, go ahead.
Okay, Madam, I saw ethics is a branch of philosophy which engages questions and rights and wrong, good and bad, and morality that states that the terms ethics and morality have been used interchangeably since they both relate to the questions of rightness and wrongness of actions, conducts, and intentions. And ethics is mainly used to connote principles of right and wrong, not necessarily restricted to a specific context. Morality is often associated with prescriptions of right and wrong behavior for specific contexts, such as religious and cultural.
Very good. Very good. You have also done very well. I will encourage everyone to try and write what you read in your own words. Be very confident in yourself. What be you? You are very learned. If you weren't, you won't qualify to do philosophy in the first place, to even enter the university. So build a certain level of confidence for yourself. And it comes out well when you are able to capture what you read and present it as you understood it in your own words. It doesn't mean say something different, but you could be saying the same thing, but you present it in your own words. That way, you are grooming yourself to be a very good academic, and you are bringing the Evelyn in you. You are bringing the Nasiba in you, even though you have read it from Asimisi or Benton. Okay, so well done. Let me take Rosemary, please.
Okay, madam. I also read about informed consent, patient's autonomy, maleficent and non-maleficent processes. And I learned that it's not in all cases that you have to decide for someone. You have to give the opportunity for the person to decide on her own before you also take the action. In the case that it becomes necessary, you have to go according to maybe the ethics or the laws governing whatever it is you are doing before you take the action.
Very good. Thank you, Rosemary. I even went off slightly, but I'm back and I got this last part of what you were saying. So I appreciate that. Thank you very much, Rosemary. Just for everyone to see how your friends are telling us what they read. Even if it was just 5 minutes ago they read it, they've still read something. And that is the push-chat. It's a very positive one. Let's take Emmanuel Kwesi Agbinku. Emmanuel, go ahead.
Madam, I read about the branches of ethics, and the
Good.
branches of ethics are meta ethics, normative ethics, and applied ethics.
Excellent. Can you hazard a guess to help us understand in your own words? Don't worry. If it goes bad, that's why we are here. How do you understand them? Yeah.
As for the normative ethics, they are like they evaluate moral standards.
Very good.
And for the meta ethics, it's like it's concerned with the foundation of ethics, like something like that.
Yeah, something like what? Tell me what it is like.
Like
meta ethics is what? Yeah.
Good, bad, and all those things are good ways of expressing our thoughts.
Okay, so they deal with the language. You see that?
Okay.
So definition, the meaning of the terms that we use in ethics. When I'm interested in the meanings of the terms of ethics, like good, what does good mean? What does it mean to do the right thing. When I ask questions like that, questions seeking for the meanings and clarifications in the language of ethics, then I'm doing ethics, but I'm doing it as what? Meta-ethics. That branch is meta-ethics. Okay. Remember analytic approach to doing philosophy. When we discuss what is philosophy, you see that we have the speculative approach and then the analytic approach. The analytic approach of doing philosophy is what comes to play when you are doing ethics, but you focus on the question of what? Meanings in terms of terms. Okay. Yes, sir. Then the last one. You've said normative and meta-ethics. So the last one will be
applied ethics.
Applied ethics, all that.
And it deals with the practical aspects.
Very good. Where we, like the name suggests, where we contextualize the discussion to specific practical context or situations. Thank you. That was very informative. Well done, Emmanuel.
Thank you.
I still want some few hands. The discussion, the slides were many. If you forget about the PDF itself, the reading was only to show you the relational account that Ajay and Miles are using to respond to the question of informed consent. But the slides I gave you are pointers, and I think about 25 pages. You should have seen something, so I'm waiting. And I'm taking people off because I want full names. I don't want IDs, please. I want names because your IDs are delicate, so I don't want you to show them like that. People who like numbers can work it out. Chris, I'll be tempted to take you off, please. I don't want Chris. I want your full name. If you don't know how to do it, ask for help, okay? And change it. I keep records of the marks I award when you are responding to questions, when you are reading. It's called class participation. So when I go looking for you, then I'll find you. I want your full name, not essay. Okay. All right. Is there any other person? Mr. Nsian, the Amudoso. Mefina. I see you all. I'm just giving you time. Maybe you have network issues, so you are still working at it. Okay, so Rosemary's hand shot up again. Go ahead. Rosemary, bless.
Madam, I also learned that. Yeah, I also learned that it is not always that what is ethical is religious.
Well, very good. Why? Explain or give an example. Put some flesh to it so that others can share in it.
Let's say, let's say someone wants to rape you.
Yes.
Someone wants to rape you. And then in the process, you also try to fight for yourself by pushing the person away. And then unfortunately, the person dies. It is, you are fighting for your rights by pushing the person away with it. I'll consider it as being ethical. But then for the person to die in the religious manner, people also say it's not right for you to do that. Meanwhile, you were also trying to defend yourself.
Okay, thank you. It's a good effort. It means you have listened to the recording. I just want to straighten it up a little for you. So that scenario you just gave, I think will be better captured as what? An act can be legality, law. The law can permit it. So an act can be legal and yet not ethical, not right, when we speak philosophically of it. Okay, so the example you gave is where we can say that an act may not be ethical, but yet it is legal. The law allows it. So the thing may not be right, but the law will say you didn't do anything wrong really, because you had to you killed the person in self-defense. The guy has killed your parents. God forbid, God forbid, God forbid. I'm just giving a scenario. So not you. The armed robbers come around and they kill the parents of that person. And afterwards, because the girl saw them, they want to kill her too. Sometimes they have even finished raping her and they are trying to strangle her to death. Then this girl launches on some knife that he was using to cut orange before the people came in. Charlie, and the guy is on him, chukum, then sister two pulls the knife to the neck, boom, because he's almost killed her. And then she saves herself. What she has done is killing, but it would not, perhaps, if that is proven at court or demonstrated at court, the lady might go scot-free. So it might be legal to have killed in self-defense. See how I'm speaking? It might be legal to kill in self-defense. It doesn't mean every killing in self-defense is legal. That's why it is taken to court for them to interrogate the matter, the circumstances, the intentions, etc., etc. Okay, so it might be legal and yet not ethical. No ethical principle can ever endorse killing of any human being. You see, so the fact that it is legal may not necessarily mean it is ethical, and that is the point that I think our dear sister wants to make. So that one captures it better. When we want to talk about religious but not ethical, we can consider the examples of some people advocating that maybe we kill cows to sacrifice or maybe we kill, let's use human beings so that it captures it well. At the junctions, there's too much accident on our road. So maybe if we sacrifice only one human being at the junction, you see how I said it, only one, as if only one is okay. Whose charge should that be? When we kill one at the junction, then the gods will be pacified and then the accidents will cease. If this were so, then it would be, look at Christians, don't be in a hurry to say that's tradition. Christ was killed, one man killed for the whole world. That's our faith. If you want to be very literal about it, it is human sacrifice. We sacrifice someone so that others will be saved. So think about it that way. Now when we bring it to the tradition, so if they say we kill one person at the junction here, the faith, the religion says it's okay, it's right. So it's acceptable in terms of what religion, but the ethics of it, ethics here meaning, is it right or wrong? And that's why we are going to engage it philosophically. For us to kill one person at a junction there, at a cross junction, that's what they say, so that we will pacify all the people who are angry, and then there will be no more accidents. Someone who has that kind of belief, and Ghana faced that issue. I saw some live killing of goats and sheep. I mean, they were burnt. It was so disheartening. I mean, we all eat goat meat, but you can't watch live put inside like that. Then the man put Ghana flag on it and bent it. The man currently is no longer alive too. Some people said the goat has come to take him away because of how he killed the goat or sheep. So the point is, this one is religiously accepted, but not necessarily ethical when we raise the questions of ethics. So sister's point was to show us that we can have a principle that is religious and yet not ethical and stuff like that. Those were also in the slides. Well done. I'm waiting. You see that I'm still on slide number 1 because I want to solicit your views. Who else saw something else? Let's add 1 or 2, then we can walk through the slides together. Put your hand up, please, and put your name on the list, positive list of those who participate in class. Exporo to you are there, Rhoda, Abra, Sicho, Gato, Suleiman. Hey, Suleiman, Zukaria. Yeah, Zukaria. Did I pronounce your name? Forgive me. Susanna, I can't pronounce your surname. Forgive me. Delic. I want 1 or 2 more feedbacks, then we are good to go. From what you saw in the slides, please. Very good. I think we have a better number now. Put your hand up, please. And this is half of the class, 1/2. So then it's very good. Well done. Nobody else? All right, let's read. Put up your hand if you want to read, please. Okay, so I see 2 hands now quickly. Oh, 5, yeah. Let's take someone who hasn't spoken. So I'll take Collins or Bing. Collins, set us up nicely. Afterwards, we'll take Farida Ibrahim. Collins. Collins, go ahead. We can't hear you.
I can't see the slides, please.
Oh, I've projected. Please, who can see outline? Can anyone see the outline?
Yes, madam. Madam, please, I can see it.
Okay.
No, we
Collins,
can't see. No, madam, we can't see. We can't
No,
see.
madam, we can't see.
Say hello.
We can't see you.
Everyone. Everyone, listen to me. Don't
can't
ever
see.
say we can't see. Please,
You
okay,
can't
unless
see.
there are two of you seated together. If you are seated alone, say I can't see. You're a philosopher. My question, yes, please, because otherwise you may lead all of us astray. Why? So I can't see is a fair answer. Maybe where you are not visible. So I want to know, can anyone? I'm not asking for those who cannot see. I'm asking, can anyone see the projected slide? If you can,
Yes,
please.
madam.
All right.
Yes.
Yes.
So my dear friends who
Because
cannot,
I
Madam,
can see.
that should
Madam, I can see.
yes. If you can see, then it suggests that, please, my dear friends who cannot see yet, it could be network. It could be that we have to, reshape your friends and your screen. Okay, so fidget with it a bit and let's see if you see ultimately. Okay, it's visible. That's all I want to say. Okay, so then let me take. Collins, is it visible now to you, or it is still not seeable?
No, please, madam.
You can't see
I
it.
can still see it.
No.
Yes,
Oh, you
please.
still can't see it. Okay, let me log out
Yes.
and do it again so that those who have issues
Okay.
can attempt. I don't want to skip you. I want you to read it. Okay. I have reshared it. Give yourself 2 seconds or 3 and let's see if you can see. Collins, can you see it now? Please.
Yes, please.
Very good. We thank God. So go ahead,
Yeah.
please.
Okay, madam.
Please,
Please go
I
ahead,
can't
Collins.
see you.
Collins, please go ahead. Everyone keep quiet, please, respectfully. Let's hear Collins. It will come. You just have to touch your screen. It's just like what happens with your phone. When you leave it without touching the screen for a while, depending on the settings you have on it, everything will go off. It doesn't mean it has disappeared. Fidget with it, touch the screen or something to come back, okay? Collins, go ahead.
Okay. Understanding ethics as a branch of philosophy. Criteria not just particular instances of good, right? Ethics and morality. The ethical versus the legal and the righteous and the religious.
Good.
Branches of ethics. Ethics discussion, question 1. The ethical principles of informed consent and patient autonomy.
Very good. Thank you very much. I want someone else to continue for me. Thank you. Let me take, so our friend Collins helped us to see what the outline of the whole content, this particular topic is. The outlines are important so that by the time we go through the whole presentation and have all our illustrations and our chat, you should be guided by what we want to target. You see, that's why we give outlines or we give objectives. So you shouldn't get too way off. No matter how much the elaboration is, keep your focus right. They are on those outlined themes there. Asantua Janet, please read for me. I mentioned someone else, but I'll come back to you. Please forgive me. Let's take Asantua. I'm checking the background. That's why. Asan, read ethics.
Okay, madam, please. It's this branch of philosophy engages questions of right and wrong, good and bad. What is right? What is good? Note that such a question is not concerned with particular instances of right actions or intentions. It is concerned with the criteria for determining good and right.
Very good. Well read. Thank you, Hassan. Now take Nasiba now. Nasiba, continue. There is nothing to explain on that slide. That's why I said nothing. It's self-explanatory. When we talk ethics, we are not talking about particular actions. We are talking about the principles that undergird actions, the rightness or wrongness of those principles underlining actions that we take. So that is what ethics is interested in, the rightness or wrongness, not of particular actions. Yesterday, I told your colleagues during our main campus discussion that it is because sometimes even the very container, I spoke a Christian religious language, the very container, the human person that is doing the supposed good action is the problem. Is the problem because if you don't have what it takes to do the God kind of good, We don't measure your goodness by just the actions, because even the bad person also does good things. You see, someone who wants to rob you could say, "Oh, madam, please let me help you with your bag." And it is in helping you with your bag, because you have too many things at the airport. It is in helping you with your bag that he gets to steal from you. You see, we don't just say that an action is good. We don't measure the specific action. We only focus on the principle that is underlining the action. So here, when we talk ethics, the question of ethics, the question of good, right, wrong, bad, etc., which is the focus of the ethical branch of philosophy called ethics. When we are focusing on that, we are looking for the criteria, what we mean when we say a person is good, what we mean when we say an action is good. Not that particular action, but what about that action makes it good? That's the point that we are trying to stress. Go ahead, Nasiba.
Ethics and morality. The
Thank you,
term
madam.
ethics and morality have been used interchangeably since they both relate to the question of rightness and wrongness of actions, conducts, and intentions. But whereas ethics is mainly used to connote principles of right and wrong, not necessarily restricted to a specific context, morality is often associated with prescription of right and wrong behavior for specific contexts, such as religious and culture.
Well read. Well done. Nasiba, that was you. Thank you very much. The next person to read will be Nadia Cortes, but I want to make a comment there. So this statement that our sister made is referencing Kwame Jechi. Kwame Jechi, whom you've met from level, I said from level 100. I already prophesied to you are in level 200 now. So earlier when we met him during our first topic, Kwame Jechi, he makes a succinct distinction between ethics and morality. And he says, when you think of the two philosophically, you can't use them always interchangeably. Why? Because one talks about principles of right and wrong, not necessarily for a specific place. It is not specified. It's just the rightness or wrongness of the principle, regardless of where we are talking about, or who we are talking about, or which people we are talking about. Okay, but for morality, there is a certain local coloration. The color is localized. So you may be speaking about what is moral. When you say moral, what is moral? Then perhaps, according to Kwame, it has something to do with a specific church, religion, society, group of people, language, ethnic group, country, etc. So yesterday I told your friends, perhaps Sharia law may sanction some things that perhaps the Ten Commandments will not, because these are two different religious perspectives. Ghana may accept some things, morally speaking, that others may not. And then I jokingly said, a westernized person may come with his cap on, wearing his earphones, with his, trousers, what you call swag. Some people call that swag. I don't know whether that is swag, but with calling his daddy, talking to his daddy and be saying, "Stop being stupid, dad." You can say that. That's nonsense, man, dad. Say something better. And the father is not offended because perhaps the morals for that context accept that kind of language. Kept on earphones in their ears. My mentees, if we have any one of you here, you don't go to anybody's office with that kind of posture. Don't do it. You see, groom yourself. I tell you, there are people the interview they went to, it's because of just one or two little things that they didn't get it. The person is talking to you and say, "Yeah, oh yeah, yeah." What is yeah? You're not talking to your peer. You're talking to someone who is trying to bring you up from a certain level. So the language should be right. Even sometimes during class interactions, you can look this up going forward when you are in online sessions or even in class. And when you see that after the class, you can tell your friend that, "Oh, sometimes when you are talking in class, watch, don't be saying yeah, yeah, okay. What you want to say is, oh, okay, I get you, doc. Yes, please. Not yeah, yeah, yeah. It's culturally offensive. Some may overlook it because this is a depraved generation. Let's leave them. Others too are particular about it. You know, recently one of our senior colleagues in the department forwarded an email, and it is because he's so irritated by it that he wouldn't even respond to the student. But he wanted to know which one of the departmental whatever folks can attend to that. And it is because of the tone of the person writing. The person, I am sure, doesn't even know that she has offended. The request is problematic. The language of the request is even more problematic. Why? Because the person is speaking so informal. And there are people who take particular, interest in that because they don't want you to think of them that way. So I put something on the platform there for you guys. You can check it. Why am I saying all this? To show you that the context, this is Kwame Jechi, can make a certain action that is seemingly harmless look very, very, very harmful and offensive. So you cannot go before the Otumfo of Ghana or any of our venerable chiefs for that matter in Ghana and go and use your left hand and be talking and be, and be say, hey, oh, no, this, no, you can't do that. Even the chiefs have to pull off their cloth off their shoulder when they stand before the Otumfo to speak. It's a sign of what? Respect. And I'm saying that when we talk morality, it always have what? A local coloration, according to Kwame Jechi, unlike ethics or the principles of ethics that are what? Generalized and not culture or religion specific. If you got that, then we are good to go now. My lady, read the next slide.
Yes, madam. Is what is ethical necessarily legal or religious and vice versa? What is ethical is not necessarily legal and vice versa. Reflection 1. Incest or sexual relations may be legal in certain contexts, that is, religious, cultural countries, yet condemnable in others, unethical but legal. Reflection 2. Donating to charity, legal and ethical. Reflection 3. Hiding Jews in Germany during the illegal but
That's World
ethical.
War II. That's World War II.
World War II. Okay.
Yes.
Sorry, madam. Okay.
No problem.
Reflection 4. First degree murder. That is ethical or illegal.
So it's unethical and illegal. You read nicely. I like your voice. Okay, that doesn't
Thank
mean the
you,
others
madam.
didn't read nicely. I like to encourage people. Let me be. Before people say this is ethically unacceptable, madam. you are giving some people plans. What about us? It is for the whole class. The point is,
Thank you.
People can behave. The points that madam read are all important. Look at the third one. I want to touch on that. Something that is legal, but what? Unethical. We turned it upside down here to capture the point. So those who hate Jews then in Germany, during Nazi Germany, were considered what? When you hide them, why were they hiding them? Because just because you are a Jew could lead to your death at that time. The law said you were to expose them for them to be killed. What did they do? Because they are Jews. That's all. At least that's what we know. Okay. So if you were someone who had conscience and it was bothering you so much, you would say, but this is the law, yet the law is not right. When you get to level 300, we'll do Martin Luther King. Hopefully, by God's grace, look at Martin Luther. Your current level 300s are doing it. His letter from Birmingham jail, questioning how it is that there cannot be a church that harbors both blacks and white. So there was a black church and a white church. There's a black restaurant and white restaurant. People don't like talking about this, but it happened in our own America, Human Rights America then. And that was the law. So Martin Luther and his folks then, who resisted that with civil disobedience, intended to show that this disobedience against the law, that is the law, legality, we are disobeying the law because the law is itself what? Unjust. Just that they will do the disobedience in a civil manner. So they don't go just breaking buildings and blah, blah. They'll go through all the 4 steps that he proposes. And if it doesn't work, then there will be civil disobedience of the law in a civil manner. Why will you disobey the law? Because the law could be unjust. So his point of justice was to say that a law that is not seated, that does not enhance human dignity, cannot be called a just law. That means our friend in that instance was showing that this is a law, it's supposed to be right, but it is legal. So that's the law, but it is not right. It's not ethical. Okay. What is happening in reflection 3 is one such example where you save someone from being killed. Why being killed? Yes, because they've not done anything. It's just because they are Jews. That's what the law said. They are killing every Jew. It is illegal to hide any Jew in your cortex. When we catch you, you have gone against the law. So hiding Jews in them would be what? Illegal. Would be illegal to hide them. But we felt that it is ethical. Look at the tension there. So these are instances. All the others are easily accessible. I just had to touch on this one for you to see how being ethical does not necessarily mean being legal or religious. And your friend also gave us another one when we did our open reflections. Sister, please read the second one, then I can call someone else to do the next.
Yes. Is the ethical necessarily religious or vice versa? What is ethical is not necessarily religious and vice versa. Reflection 1. Some religions practice human or animal sacrifice as an offering or a ritual to appease or please a deity or god. This is variously condemned, religious but unethical. Reflection 2. Honesty in dealings with others, ethical and religious. Reflect.
Very good. And I ask you to reflect. So, as for being honest with people when you are dealing with them, whether in business or in relationships or in exam, in exam, when you see a point, you have to close your eyes. When you see the apple flowing, cry, you just close your eyes because you want to be honest. We realize that that one is both religiously acceptable and also what? Legally. So those are instances. Why did I give you those? Because you will be asked to create yours and show why an ethical statement or an ethical issue is not necessarily a religious one. Why there is a distinction between being ethical and being religious. Well done so far, class. Let me take someone else. Thank you, Nadia. I would want to take Doreen Krista. Now, your hand is up. So Doreen Krista Chum Williams. Hey, you have 4 names like me. Now, go ahead, Doreen.
Branches of ethics.
Thanks.
Meta-ethics. A branch of philosophy concerned with the foundations of ethics, especially with the definition of ethical terms and the nature of moral discourse.
Very good. One of your colleagues gave us that when we did the introduction. So one of you has already taught us that. He taught us 3 branches of ethics. He mentioned meta-ethics. He mentioned normative ethics on your screen now, and also applied ethics. And then he even went ahead to explain normative ethics for us and explained applied ethics, where you apply the ethical principles to real life issues. And he told us normative ethics deals with how people ought to act. He mentioned evaluation. So you are dealing with principles that are judging how we should do things. And then the earlier one was what Madam was reading for us, and I helped your friend a bit with it, if you recall. What is that one? Where we look at the language, the definition of the terms we are using in our ethical discourse. When we start asking for clarity of the terms, when we start seeking the meanings of those terms and we are examining those terms, then we are doing meta ethics. And I think that is clear. So Madam will now read for us the discussion question 1. And if you were looking at your, just a minute, ma'am. If we were looking at the outline, you see where we have reached. For the main theme of what? Understanding ethics as a branch of philosophy, we've done the first point under it, criteria, not particular instances. We just went through ethics and morality, where we touched on the name Kwame Jechi. We saw that the ethical is not necessarily the legal or the religious. We've just seen that. Then we just walked ourselves quickly through the branches of ethics. And we are now going to look at discussion question 1. You see how to study. So all these have been covered somewhat in very simple, accessible language to help you. The rest is your job to think through it and be able to produce your own responses. I want Madam to read the ethical question for me. Please go ahead, Lady Doreen.
Okay. Ethics discussion question 1. Eja Bentum's religious persuasion abhors blood transfusions, but doctors believe he would die without a transfusion since he has already been resuscitated twice using CPR after heart
Could you
attack.
just speak up a little, just a little bit more? Okay,
Yes,
it will
please.
help us because we are recording. Yeah.
Yes, please. Another CPR, in the strong view of the specialist doctors, would be medically futile without the option of a blood transfusion. Yet his family head, children, and wife are willing to sign for the transfusion. Eja insists on no transfusion, refuses to sign a do not resuscitate order, but still hopes to live as long as possible. The doctor brings the issue to the medical ethics committee, which you head, for the deliberation on and the decision. What will be your decision to resolve this ethical dilemma? Will you favor patient autonomy over the principle of non-maleficence? Would you admit the family decision which is opposed to the decision of the patient himself in the name of ensuring beneficence? Why?
Excellent. Well done. It was quite lengthy. This was a past question. I have tweaked it here and there. We have discussed it extensively. If you are listening to the content on the academic channel, you would have heard quite seasoned discussions from your police earlier last year. Okay, so it's good. Now I want to hear from you. What would you do if you were the head, the consultant, the boss of the Ethics Institute at that hospital? Maybe you are even in Ghana, but the institute is in, give me a place, KwaZulu Natal. They pay you big money as the ethical consultant because you have good brains. They brought this issue before you. What will you do? I want your feedback. The man won't take the blood. He won't sign the do not resuscitate order to, so that the hospital can be immune from whatever happens. And yet he's hoping that he will live as long as possible. What would you do? Would you favor patient autonomy over the principle of non-maleficence? Or would you admit the family decision, which is opposed to the decision of the patient? The family says, please give him the blood. Give him blood, let him live for us. The man says, don't do it. I don't want it. I am not supposed to take someone else's blood. My faith does not allow that. What will you do? I want to get feedbacks from you, like I did from main campus. I always do that to hear you. Okay, so I see some hands up. Let's take Dodu, Gabriel Dodu. Gabriel, please go ahead.
All right, Doc.
Thank you, sir.
Doc, if it's me, I think I will listen to the family decision because it can be perceived that when you are sick, you might lose a bit of conscience.
Okay.
So I would take the family's decision and give the blood.
Okay, thank you very much. Could it be that the family, I'll play the devil's advocate throughout. When I say the devil's advocate, when the person says A, then I'll ask a question as if I belong to B people and query A, just so we can interrogate the matter very well. When you say B2, I'll go and join A people and ask you a question. We'll keep doing that because we are trying to tease out the ethical concerns there, the question of what is right and wrong, which one should be done and which one shouldn't be done, and why. So our friend's response says he will give recognition to the family's demand. And the reason why is what I'm very much interested in. He says because sometimes when people are sick, they are not able to rationally make decisions. Okay, they are not competent enough. I'm sure you saw that in the slides. You've heard that in the video. So my question is, what if the family has an intention? They have an interest. The man is rich. The man is damn rich, man. He doesn't give. But he says, oh, you wait when I die. I have willed everything to you. This is my house. That's the will over there. So you don't have any problem. When I die, yeah, you will get it. But right now, no. Now the family says, oh, please give him the man says, don't give me blood. Don't. You don't know what he has done. You don't know what he did to get the money he has. You don't know the commitment he has made anywhere that prevents him from taking any other blood. What if you knew that? Are we able to do that? To still insist on what the family said? Say, Dodo, let me hear your feedback. Say, Gabriel Dodo.
All right, Doc. Like, for instance, like the
Yes.
scenario you give.
Yes.
If maybe he has done something to get his money, and
Yes.
as a result of that, he wouldn't like taking the blood.
Yes.
That one is sick. We cannot testify of that. He
So
alone knows about.
that, yeah. Sorry, please. I'm just saying that. So if that is the reason why he says, don't give me blood, because we have only assumed that it is because he's not well. So he might not be in the right frame of mind. So we should just listen to the family. And our paper also that says that when it comes to the West, we can consider. Our paper is dealing with autonomy bill. But my question is this: if it is, you see, if you are a good Muslim, you don't take pork. Some don't even take alcohol. Okay, because it is against his faith. If you're a Jehovah's Witness, you don't take someone else's blood. Typical witness, you won't allow someone else's blood into your system. The reason is the life of a thing is in the blood. This is in the Bible. So for some, if I take in that blood, I have stopped living. I'm no longer the one alive. Someone else is living inside me. You have killed me. You see, so people have reasons why they hold on. So where you can establish that the person is not competent, medically competent, in other words, is not able to comprehend, like you gave a very good reason for, then perhaps you can take that risk, like you're saying, because we don't know. We don't know what else the person might have done. But I'm just asking that what if the family has an interest which goes against the choice, the autonomy, the right, what the person who will be affected wants? Could that be a difficulty we'll be faced with? That is the question. Okay. So that we don't always, if we find ourselves in that situation, we don't always feel that, oh, leave the patient. The patient is sick, that's why. What are they saying? Let them sign it, let's go and do it. They might have an interest. Maybe he's the next of king. If he survives, he will come and become the king. And they know that as soon as you put someone else's blood inside him, that family will not accept him because they don't believe in that. So they will tell you, give him blood, give him blood. You know, if you have any deformity or you can't stand before any traditional king, at least some of them in Ghana here. Yes, that's the belief. So maybe they know that. So they say, give him the blood. Give him. As soon as he gets well and can, he say, we're unqualified. He cannot qualify to be a king. He doesn't have that. We are taking someone else's blood. Could that be the reason? So I'm just giving you, the strangest of imaginations. But we will come to those that are very close to our practical context for you to see why it is important to respect the autonomy of the patient where it can be done. So the question down there is, will you favor the autonomy of the patient over and above the principle of non-maleficence? That is where you are not supposed to cause harm. Non-maleficence. Do not cause harm to the patient. Then the other one is the principle of what? Beneficence. Do that which will benefit the patient. So which one will you give priority to? Non-maleficence, beneficence, or respect for patient autonomy? Thank you very much, Sir Gabriel. You set us off well. So we are going now, after we have learned the ethical principles, we want to now test that principle against actual medical context. I'll take Derek Isel. Please read for us. After Derek, Jacob Daku Tahir will also read. So go ahead, Derek. Derek, are you with us? Please read quickly. If you are not able to read, then I'll take Jacob, Dako, Tahiru. Any one of you can unmute and read what you see on your screen for us. See why sometimes I don't want to call the guys. Where are they? Are you eating? Are you eating fufu whilst in class? Okay, let me take Ernestina. Ernestina Bavo Akusika. Hey, Ernestina.
Information. Madam.
Go ahead. Well, it's not, and I mean, I've not called you yet. I called Ernestina, please. Let me hear Ernestina. Oh, Derek is in. Derek, where did you go? Are you back? There are too many unmuted mics now. Who is reading? Derek?
Yeah, madam, I wasn't able to come.
Okay, so who is speaking
Yeah,
now?
I'm ready.
Is it Ernestina?
Yeah.
Hey.
Yes, please. No.
Okay, so my dear Ernestina, read. Let's have ourselves organized. I have 3 microphones unmuted now. Let's take Ernestina. We can now follow up later with the others. Okay, Ernestina, Bavo, go ahead.
Thank you, madam. Informed consent, autonomy and ethics, outline, introduction, understanding informed consent as an ethical issue in medicine. That's bioethics. The pattern, the process of informed consent must follow. Why informed consent? Patient autonomy. Duty of the caregiver, beneficent and non-maleficent. The ethical dilemma. A proposed response. Ajay and Mouse relational personhood.
Well done. Well done. Finally, we got to the end. My sister, so what you have read out for us is the outline. By the time we finish the second half of our discussion, which has almost been done, I've touched on every one of them, but I want us to go through the slides all the time so that students will be confident that we have done everything there. And then they can also build their confidence to produce something. We have looked at introduction. I will introduce you to that theme up there, informed consent, autonomy, and ethics. I'll do that. Then we will see why we have to understand what informed consent is. You see, the emphasis is on informed. That's why it's highlighted. It's not just consent. There's the patient giving his or her consent, not just that. We want to make sure that the consent means agree, they assent to it, they agree. We just don't want them to agree to that medication or that health that you are administering. We want them to agree to something that they are informed about. They know, they comprehend, they understand the implications thereof, you see. So it should be an informed consent. Then in this delivery tool, we want to emphasize the processes, the steps, the pattern that an informed consent must take. It must go through a certain number of steps for it to qualify as what? An informed consent. Then we will touch briefly on why should we even be concerned about ensuring that the consent sought from the care seeker, the patient, why should we even be concerned that the patient gives what? An informed consent? If we ignore it, what at all? Well, it is because of the autonomy of the patient. Human beings are not stones, friends. Human beings are not trees. At least Ortega told us that. Human beings have a choice. That's what makes us human. It underlies the dignity of a human person. When you want to impose things on people all the time, especially things that have to do with their well-being, you can't love someone more than they love themselves. You see that? You can help them see it. That what you are doing, it's not helping you. This thing you have been smoking every day like this, not helping you. Okay? You can do that consistently and help them, especially where they are mentally competent. So we'll see that to make that decision. But you can't impose it. You shouldn't be eating this. You have to eat this and drink this. You have to eat it. Hey, show the person why. Maybe there can be alternatives. You see, so it is important to respect the patient's autonomy. Even if you are the boss doctor or the boss herbalist or the boss caregiver, the one taking care of some elderly woman somewhere, you want to give her medication. You say, so take this fufu. It's heavy. If you eat fufu, I can give it. You say, oh, today I don't want to eat fufu. If I got porridge, it's okay. You say, no, you have to eat the fufu. Eat it. Eat it. You cry, you disturb. If you eat, what will happen? You have to. What you are doing is not good. The fufu might not be good for her. So you have to explain. Oh, if you eat the fufu, it will interfere with the antibiotic. It won't work early. So you should eat something like, speak that way for the person to consent to. It is a difficult task, but it's important because what you are doing is what? To respect the dignity. Have you seen a chair complaining about who is sitting on it? Maybe the best complaint a chair can give is to break. Chairs don't have any dignity to be respected. Friends, the stone on the field doesn't have any choice than to be a stone. Otega taught us that. Okay. But human beings are not like that. So when you want to insist and push because that paternalistic posturing, I'm the boss and you are the subordinate. Listen and do. Without helping the person to see it the way you say it as the competent other. You see, you are the competent other. Yes, we grant that. You are the doctor. So you help the person see so the person can make that decision with you. That is when you are treating that other person as a human being. All these things I'm saying, they are already ahead of us. You have seen them already. When I get to the slide, I'll skip. So it is important to seek informed consent. Then the next point there is what? Duty of the caregiver. It's not an optional. It's not, when we study Immanuel Kant, you will understand this word duty. It's so strict that some even criticize that as being too mechanical. I've sent you the slides on the business ethics for next week already. Those who are following the course, you've seen it already there. This word duty, it is the duty of the caregiver to ensure beneficence, non-maleficence, and respect for what? Patient autonomy. That is why these can generate an ethical dilemma, an ethical difficulty. When you go this way, trouble. When you come that way, trouble. That's a dilemma. You don't know where to go. Will you tell a lie to save a life, for example? Both of them are ethically not good. So when you are in such conflicting situations, then we say you are in a dilemma. And so we'll expose some of the dilemma that is entailed in these three ethical principles when you have to pursue all of them. And then the last one is just to show you that contribution we gave to you over there, that J. Miles paper, to show you a relational conception of personhood that may help us. It's a may, because we are philosophers. It may help us negotiate the difficulty of ensuring beneficence, non-maleficence, and patient autonomy, especially. Okay, so that is the outline, well read, well explained. Now we'll just go through the slides. We'll slide through the slides so that you will see what I've said, all that I've said. Thank you, sir. Let me take Derek. I'm sorry. Thank you, madam. Let me take Derek Isel now. After that, Tracy Ajima, be on standby to read.
In contemporary medical care, the idea of informed consent by mentally competent patients or their chosen legal representative is considered a strict and universal ethical and legal requirement for research involving human beings, sometimes animals, for a diagnostic, therapeutic, interventional or psychobehavioral studies, especially in the administration of health to patients. Illustrates with COVID-19, cutting off the tubes.
Excellent. So the word was socio-behavioral, but the rest were well read. Take note, mentally competent is boldened for you to see that we are not just saying that because the person is a patient, we should let them make those decisions. Sometimes children, for example, eat and grow so that you can take your own medicine, or eat, we are applying something on your growing teeth, which is making, you are putting some bone gel or something there so that the pain of the growing teeth will come down. He doesn't want to budge because the thing is paining him and you are touching it. But what you are doing can help them. So because they're not mentally competent, this is what I was stressing earlier. This is not where to be looking for informed consent. Otherwise, you will overlook benefits, what will benefit the child, and you will overlook non-maleficence. You see how our elderly folks can put the, let me say it in you, now because of a group, we have been saved from that. In the past, they will put the towel in that warm water, and how your sore will suffer, just so that it will heal and there will be no tetanus. Now, when you get the tetanus injection, at least your skin will be saved from that kind of heat. The point I'm making is they know that you don't know. If they don't treat it, this thing can go bad. So they're not looking at your point of view in the matter, especially when they think they're not mentally competent to make that decision. I said this also in the other discussion, so let me say it here. The guy is drunk, totally drunk. When you ask him what's your name, he says, my name. Now he has been brought to your hospital, maybe because of an emergency of a kind, grinding a machine or something. The machine has cut off a portion of his body and he's bleeding. They ask him, please, we want to take you to this stitches. He said, I don't like stitches. No stitches on my body. I'll be fine. The guy is drunk. That is not the time to be seeking mental, informed consent from the person. So the point we are making, which your friend read, is that the idea of informed consent by who? Mentally competent patients or their chosen legal representatives. They can choose someone to legally represent them when it comes to that matter and it is filed. That one has become an ethical, and not just an ethical matter, but a legal requirement for even research. So when you go interviewing folks on matters that border on their health, privacy, property, what have you, it is a requirement. You have to ensure that you have sought what? Their consent, and not just the consent, but the informed one. All the rest I think I've said, so we'll walk them through quickly. So please read the next one, then I'll take Tracy. Oh, Derek, are you there or you have disappeared again? Go ahead. Thank you.
A process informed consent. A process of step of information by the caregiver and viewed by a care seeker, the end product of which is consent to or rejection by the care seeker of a medication or treatment administered by the caregiver. Note, not just the patient's but her informed consent.
Very good. So not just, I've said all that, so I don't want to over elaborate now. I think that Tracy will read the next one, then I can use some examples to help you. Tracy Ajima, you are good to go now. After Tracy, we take Francis Kofi. Deborah, I've seen you. Hold on for me for a minute. So Tracy, go ahead. Tracy Ajima. After you, I'll take Francis Kofi. Oh, Tracy, are you there? If Tracy is busy, let's take Deborah Glago. After Deborah, I'll come to Francis Kofi. You are all muted, so you would have to unmute so we can hear you. Quickly, please. Tracy, Deborah Glago. Okay, if both of you are not there, then let's take Francis Kofi, please.
Informed consent.
Thank you, sir. I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Informed consent. In other words, as an ethical doctrine, informed consent can be simply described as a process of communication which enables a patient with extant capacity to reason to make informed and voluntary decisions whether to accept or decline medical care. This means merely appending one's signature to a form after a brief conversation just before treatment or procedure may not be enough.
Very good. May not be enough. Yes. Hold on. You read again. Thank you. Please take note. Oh, you see how I've taken my time, as if you have never seen the lecture anywhere. You have not seen the slides, because I don't want to presume anything. Take note. You answer questions on these, okay? And you even applied. I said, when you give the woman in labor a paper over there, please sign this thing. If you want us to do the thing, sign it. Sign it. Why? Not time in the hole. Sign it. Because it's 50-50. So you sign. You have taken the consent of the woman, but it was not an informed one. Not knowing inside that paper is when you finish, we'll cut your tubes off because you have given birth to too many children. And you gave it to her when she was pushing the baby out. That is not informed consent. That's consent. The person must be clearly communicated to. That's what your friend read. Must understand, must have the capacity to reason, mental competence, must have voluntary options. Give the patient the other options available. Let her decide. You see? So if you haven't done all of that and you bring a sheet of paper that the person appended their signature here, or the person delegated to do that, you haven't sought informed consent. That's the point we are making. So please go ahead. So Kofi.
Such a context does not adequately allow the patient a change of mind upon reconsultation, or if there is new information on treatment. Informed consent requires that at every stage of treatment or health delivery, where possible, the care seeker is clearly communicated to in a language easily understood by them.
Good.
Made to appreciate why the treatment is being offered.
Good.
The potential risk and benefits and the alternatives to the proposed therapy.
Excellently read. You read the third one, so hold on, please. I beg you. Now, folks, this is important. Clearly communicated to in a language easily understood by them. Don't go and talk plenty technicalities because you know your stuff. And let the person go and sign the thing. Oh, doc, okay. If that is what I think I trust you. So if you think that is what is good, yeah, we accept it. Before they know it, you are coming to cut off the woman's leg. Because the English you wrote, there is an antithesis of the antithesis of something. Tell the person in clear language, the one that is accessible to her. If the English is not helping, translate or get a translator. The point you are making is the person must know that ultimately what it means is that we'll cut your own leg off and put someone else's leg there, or we'll give you cat eyes, or the expansion that will give you on your hips. No, we'll take it from your back. So your back will be flat and you get big hips. The patient should know the risk. That one cannot sit by hot water, hot fire or something like that. Or every morning you have to remove it and squeeze out the water and put another one inside the gel and then fix it. Otherwise, when you are walking, one of your hips will drop and the other one will be hanging up there. The person must know the risk and the benefits. The alternatives, if we don't cut it off, we could also, shave it. Say those things so that now the person will have new information until you can even say, well, the alternative, you could also go to America or you could go to South Africa. They have a procedure there, but that one, they will just, call the thing out so that the person sits and makes the choice. You see how much time I'm spending on that? Informed consent is not piece of paper signing. So people are going to do research. When they come to the area, they say the Ethical Institute wants to clear them. Did you get clearance for the ethics? And you say, yes, where is it? And they put the paper down. Who signed it? Oh, we went to the man says they agree. Now, when you go and take your camera, you say, oh, no, don't bring the camera today. These people are so and so. This woman's own is this. Don't bring cameras here. So what they signed, was it informed consent? What kind of research are you doing? Because if they consented to, and it was an informed one, you will clearly know where you can take your cameras to, what kind of questions you can ask the patient, what can irritate that mentally sick person, for him or her to react, and what you shouldn't ask. There will be clarity. So you come out with good research. Boss, read the last one, please. Thank you very much. You have a very good microphone to ask.
That is, the caregiver or researcher is required to make every effort to ascertain that the care seeker or respondent understands the purpose, benefits, and risk involved in the proposed outcome. Example, plastic surgery to enlarge, a heart surgery, a cancer patient undergoing a therapy, cutting off tubes, etc.
Yes, thank you very much. Right, you did well. Don't go telling the woman that, look, when we finish your delivery, we have cut off those tubes. Hey, your tubes were very weak. Oh. You have 9 children already. Why are you still giving? So I've cut it off. I think you do fine. Hey, you cut it off. Is that how to cut people's tubes because you see that they are weak and you are the boss? Yes, it's true. You have to protect the patient, ensure beneficence. So that is not the issue. But it is equally important to seek the permission or to get the informed consent of that patient so that she will at least come to terms with what she's doing. Because for all you know, she would rather go and strengthen her tubes and come back and deliver the 10th child so she can get Bedujan and become the queen mother of her society. It's her right as a human person, a dignified human person for that matter, to make that decision with you. Okay, thank you, sir. Let's take Victoria Tete. Vicky, after that, Pincredia, be on standby. Asantua, have you read? I think I called you earlier. Did I make you read? Okay, so let's take.
No, please.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. It skipped me. So we'll take. I said Francisco Fee. We'll take Victoria Tete afterwards. Then we'll come to Asantua. Let's work in that order. Go, sir. Please, I'm waiting for you. Hey, debut, Sir Francisco Fee. Victoria Tete. Vicky, we are waiting. Okay. Victoria Tete, you have unmuted, but you are not reading, please. Oh, I cannot hear you. Okay, let me take Asantua then. When Victoria comes, she will continue. The Asantua I have in mind is there are two Asantuas here. Asantua Janet, is that you? Or Sarah
No,
Asantua?
please.
Okay, Sarah Asantua, go ahead. Let
Yes.
me take Sarah Asantua Donting. Afterwards, I'll come to Asantua Janet. I also mentioned that name, Pincredia. Okay, let's work in that way. Sarah Asantua Donting first. Please go ahead.
In research or clinical trial, likewise, obtaining consent prior to a research or clinical trial entails informing the subject about their rights, including, among others, their right to withdraw from the study and the extent of confidentiality of personal identification and demographic data.
Very important. Very, very important for your research work, regardless of the department you enter into. It's an ethical issue when you go and take people's information and then you don't tell them what you use it for. And so just to show that you have done some good research, you parade their details. And you say, oh, I interviewed, they go on lectures, one from so-and-so department and a female and this. And she even had all these things to say. Then you are making your output look very good at the expense of other people's details. See, confidential demographic data. You can't do that. It's an ethical issue, especially in clinical trials, okay? You take someone's sample and you say, oh, all these people are AS, these people are SS, and these people, and you are giving it away without their consent. Did I tell you to go and tell everybody that I am so and so, so and so? That is why when people were interested in which sickness then our ex-president of blessed memory had, people felt that, hey, now Dr. Fond, they are not telling us anything. Why are not telling us? Then they know that he's our president. Well, if he's your president, the man has his personal A2. Yeah, you can't disclose people's information, especially on their health, without their permission. You can't do that. You can't become doctors and nurses and lawyers. So it's an ethical issue, and it is important that at this level of your study, you recognize that. And today that we have social media and all that there is, before you know it, they have put it. Our lecturers are really suffering. This woman, for example, she has 4 children. And she works 24 hours. Look at her, this and this. She's just so and so age. And she has gone, now would you go, sir? Did I send you? Okay. So that is the point we made up there. I'm saying all these things because when I asked you to give practical illustrations to show when so and so person's informed consent was not sought, or where you can have an ethical issue with so and so scenario, you are able to identify that, look, the person wasn't given the right to withdraw from the research. It's as if you have started, so, well, we are sorry, we can't help you out. So you have to continue. Why? I should be able to say, well, I wanted to do plastic surgery to enlarge my something, but where we have reached, I think I've changed my mind. So you have to show me the given options. Show me what I can keep safe about in terms of my data and what can be exposed. And then you would have really done a good job. Sister, read the summary of it, what you have said so far.
The pattern the process of informed consent should follow. Simply put, the process of informed consent should follow this pattern. 1. Disclosure. 2. Comprehension. 3. Analytical competence. And 4. Voluntary consent or refusal.
Very good. So these are straightforward. Disclosure. Give the information, disclose it. Don't close it. Keep it unclosed. So uncover every information about it. Then 2, after you uncover it, make sure the person comprehends it or tiasie. If you have to translate, translate. If it's English, the person speaks English, yes, but there's technicality to it. Open it out for the person to understand. Then the third one, ensure there's analytical competence, what we have called what? Mental competence. The person should be stable mentally. Don't go asking them when they are ready, hyper to make a decision. They will make a hyper decision and blame you afterwards. If you like, go and ask a woman in labor, so what should we do with it? She said, cut it off. Hey, cut it off. I don't want to even give birth again. It's so painful. It's because of the pain. When she delivers, she will come and ask you for her womb. So don't go asking at that time. It wouldn't be an informed consent. It would just be a mere consent. Okay. And then voluntary consent, we say, or refusal. It should be voluntarily done. You are only supposed to expose all the sides of the matter to the person where you have established analytical competence. Let the person now see and make the choice. Okay. If you do those 4, then you have done informed consent. Let me now, thank you, madam. Let me take, I said, okay, I mentioned another name. Now here I go. Hey, I forgot to know. Please help me. The second Asantua can read. Asantua Janet. Then I'll come back to Pinkra.
Okay, Madam, please, thank you. Why informed consent? Patient autonomy. The requirement of informed consent only underscores respect for the care seeker's right to autonomous decision.
Excellent.
To refuse treatments of therapy on religious, cultural, or other grounds because they are competent to choose to do so.
Very good.
It secures the patient's autonomy as a human person against imposition.
Yes.
Observing patient autonomy, freedom and right through the affirmation of a right to information and to self-determination underscores the dignity of the human person.
Well read. I have explained all of that. That's why I'm not saying anything. That is what makes you human. Onipa that's a dua or stone, especially a grown person. It's not a tree, not a stone that you will be pushing them left, right, center. I say, eat the food. Hey, come on, eat it. Eat and drink the thing. Some people are even pushing babies and then the nurse is whipping them. They are whipping her because sometimes people too are lazy. They don't want to push baby. Baby is dying. She wants to save the child, you see. But if you can, then you could tell her before, during antenatal, that please, sign here for me, because when you are pushing baby and you are wasting time, here we whip you. So think about it. If you can endure that there, then on the day of delivery, if you are wasting time, that's my cane over there. I whip people so that the baby doesn't die. If you cannot, then there's another hospital be over there. They will do you baby. Eh? And if you are your baby die, they are okay with it. Here, dear, we have a big cane over here. If you are not pushing, we'll whip you so that you can push with the pain. I mean, what I'm trying to show is you can let the person make that choice anyways. If that is what you think will give you the beneficence you seek for the same patient. Let them know that this is how you operate here. Here, we always have blood on standby when we are going to do a cesarean section. We don't even want you to choose. So at antenatal, when you are in your 3rd month, then we tell you, when you come for your 4th month antenatal, please, we'll ask of you to determine whether you want it or you don't want it. So the person has enough time to think through, because he's a human being with various interrelatedness and interconnectedness, and may want to consider options. Don't insist that the person must be in your health center because you know the research. And if you look at the size of the balls, you are waiting for some clozacelin B or fluclose for you to go. No. Tell the person that, well, there are other alternatives. You can do herbs too. Maybe you want to consider that. That is if you are struggling to let the thing go. Because why it's too big. The person wants to go to some grandma be at the village there for her to tear her bind, herbalist, and put it on it. I didn't say necessarily a fetish priest. That is also someone's faith. So we respect that. But I'm not even talking about, I'm talking about herbs. Person can do a little neem tree here, go into the bush, tear some precursor, go near baby and mix it and put it on the person's swollen leg, elephantiasis or something. Perhaps it might go. So you have to give the alternatives, even if you don't subscribe to that alternative. You haven't been able to solve it. So you tell the patient that, well, others also consider that. I don't know if it's something you want to look at. Or you will travel with Wafa to India. The Indian people, they say they don't give you medicine for this one. They are telling him, I've heard that this is what they do. I can't testify, but you may want to consider. They will pray the cancerous cells out of your system. That's what they do. Then the patient decides. So that is why it is important. It is because you are dealing with a human being and his or her dignity. Treat a human being as a human being. That's what Kant says. We'll get to it. Ortega also wants to believe that. That's why I'm saying if you make choices, you have to respect the choice and give you. Because you're a human being. We can't impose our own. We can only guide you and explain the implications of your choices to you, because we are the competent other one, but you are the one who needs it. Okay, just I read this one too.
The duty of the caregiver, beneficence and non-maleficence. Medical ethics is not only based on the tenets of respect for autonomy and justice, but also on the fundamental principles of beneficence and non-maleficence. Beneficence. This principle prescribes that the caregiver ought to take an action only if it benefits the patient. Non-maleficence. This principle prescribes that the caregiver avoids any action that causes harm to the patient. Thus, Madam, please, you said?
No, please go on. I'm enjoying your reading. Go on.
Okay. Thus, the physician is supposed to uphold the joint principles of beneficence and non-maleficence while respecting patient autonomy.
And that is where the problem is. He has to do this one and that one. Ensure you don't cause harm to the patient. That is what you have sworn to. At the same time, ensure you do that which will benefit the patient. And at the same time, ensure you respect what the patient wants. Hey, you people, you have eaten your cake, you want to have it back. If the patient could do something about himself, why didn't he do it at home? Why have you brought him to my institution or my hospital? And now, if I have to make a decision that will help him, because he himself admits that he needs my help, my competent help. You see, the help that I'm giving him out of my competence, what he cannot do. If he has come here, then you are insisting to adhere to I have to listen to what he wants or seek his permission. Then what is this? Kosi and kosi koden koda. You know, that is it. That's why it's an ethical dilemma. So since I read this one too.
The ethical dilemma. 1. There is a fundamental ethical dilemma entailed in the simultaneous demand for understood or informed consent on the one hand and the requirement for beneficence and normal efficiency on the other. Note 1. Informed consent requires that the patient be competent, understands the choice, yet the patient is at the same time expected to depend on the competent other physician for knowledge which influences or dictates her supposed informed choice of consent or refusal. This means the patient is already assumed to be incompetent. The dilemma then is how to determine whether a choice of consent or refusal made is actually an informed one.
Very good. I hope that you all see the tension. If the person is competent already, then why would you want me to be the one explaining to him for him to still make a choice? Then why is he even in my hospital in the first place? We are showing you the tension. You come to my hospital because already we assume that you are not a competent, maybe mentally competent, but you are not competent in the field of medicine or in administering health, or if it's a physiotherapist, he's telling you raise your leg up this way so that I can massage the other side. Say, no, please. That one, if you do it, you break my leg. Please let me show you. You let me turn it up. Let me turn it where? The professional. You don't know. That's why you have come to me. If you can do it yourself, stay at home. So already we assume that the patient is not competent, at least medically speaking. So if he's assumed to be incompetent, then why are we now supposed to still seek the informed consent of that patient who is assumed to be incompetent? Is it the attention? Yeah, that's the challenge. The first challenge. Thank you very much, Asantua Janet. Let me now take Penkradia.
Okay.
Penkradia, read very well for me, okay, so that we finish quickly. The next class will come in. I want 5 minutes or so break. So read well for me, like all the others have done. Ethical dilemma 2. Go ahead.
Ethical dilemma 2.
Go ahead.
Ethical dilemma 2. Another level of tension arises in the simultaneous demand for both informed consent and the requirement of beneficence and beneficence. In simple terms, in respecting the autonomy of the patient and pursuing informed consent, the physician may be exposing the patient to harm, undermining the principle of non-maleficence, or optimum to do only that which benefits the patient.
Yes. Or omitting to do, yes. Or omitting, that is not doing.
Omitting to do only that which benefits the patient, sorry.
Yeah, that is undermining benefits. Okay, so in trying to respect the autonomy of the patient and pursue informed consent, you may end up as a physician. A physician is just another way of saying a doctor or something. Let's say that way. So the doctor may end up exposing the patient to harm when they respect what the patient is saying, because the patient doesn't know, he's not competent. You see, that's the whole thing. It's the logic, the ethical language you want you to pick. As for the concept, I think you get it. But I want you to pick the terminologies because we are doing ethics. Okay. So in respecting patient autonomy, you may end up undermining. Undermining means weakening what? The principle of not causing harm. Okay, so you may end up causing harm, which will mean that you didn't respect the principle of non-maleficence, you see. Or you may undermine the principle of beneficence, doing that which benefit the patient. By the time you finish, you see that you will not be able to do that which will benefit him, Because you are telling him this, he's saying that you are a footballer, your leg is broken, you're at your knee area. You have to raise your leg this way in the machine. Then I will pull this one down. It's painful, but that is what will straighten the bone so that you go and excel. When you say this has money, he says no. When you say, oh, this one, I think when I go to my club, yeah, don't worry, you leave it. Oh, no, please, this one is not. So you respect the patient's autonomy, and people think that who is the one who works on this guy's leg? Well, boom, pow, this guy is still not able to play. He's not listening. He's a patient. Okay, so there is a tension there. That's the second dilemma. Not only about being competent, but also about even where you respect the autonomy, how it could infringe on and undermine the principles of beneficence and non-maleficence. Please read this one. Our interest. Ante, read, please. Are you there? Dear Pinkra,
Yeah, I'm there.
Please go ahead. Don't say, yeah, I'm there. I just told you that that is not good language. Go ahead, please.
Yes, sir. Yes, madam.
Don't worry. Keep going.
Okay. Class discussed several instances where the patient disagrees with the recommendation of the professional health giver on what is in the patient's best interest, medically speaking, in such a scenario.
Go on.
In such a scenario, should be given priority over which and why?
Very good. I've given you quite a number of them. Okay, so it's just the discussion I wanted to put there. We're almost done. Thank you so much, dear Pinkra. I want to take Zuera Sani. Oh,
welcome,
Zuera.
madam.
Yo. Zuera, please read for me a Sani. Then we would end with, I hope, there are four hands left. Very good. So we can end with, who has, is it Kingsley Ochre? We end with. So Zuera, please read. Did I pronounce your name well? Sani. Zuera.
Yes.
Hey, go ahead. Thank you.
A proposed response dilemma. In their personhood, autonomy and informed consent, AG and Miles propose a relational account of personhood, which their view, which account of the equal values of community. Is it communality?
Yes,
communality and solidarity in defining who a person is, and allows consideration for the role of competence, significant others in impacting the life and health of those they know and care about without undermining the essential and fundamental inalienable dimension of patients' individuality, autonomy, right
bearing, etc. Yes. So in that paper, apart from all the other contributions that have been made by Ajay and Miles, Prof. Ajay is in our department there, yours truly, myself. What we seek to do in that, our contribution to the paper edited by our senior colleague there, was what? To show that there is a relational account of personhood, which makes it possible for us to make someone else act on behalf of another. And still that doesn't undermine autonomy because of how, at least the African context defines what? A person. Since a person in the African, we leaped from the account concept and then extrapolated, okay? So the account, and for that matter, most African conceptions of personhood will include something more than just individual, the individual person lying there. So to respect autonomy, which is about the person, the person's autonomy, we say that it is possible for someone who is connected to that individual lying there to make a decision which still stands for the person, because personhood is bigger than just individuality. That is one of the compelling arguments we make. But we are very conscious, look on your screen now, we're very conscious of the possibility of what having families interfere because they have an interest. Okay, but that is also the same where even the competent actor, the doctor, is the one that is making the final decision. He too can have an interest if he knows that he'll get 10% of the man's property. Or if he knows that if this man dies here, my institution will be embarrassed. He can just say that this one, no, it cannot be cured. Please take him home. Because he doesn't want the person to die here. So either way, whether you leave it in the hands of the so-called competent order or you make family folks decide for him, there is still the trailing question of whether we can trust that the decision made on behalf of that individual really represents the individual's. But that is really a problem with representation. When your MP goes to parliament, who says he represents necessarily directly everything that you and I, the constituents, have in mind? So representation always comes with its buts and ifs. But the proposal is where we have a very strong communal tie and we don't regard people as just individuals, but also as what? Necessarily communal. Then it helps if at that difficult time of decision making, if the other person is not competent enough to, then we are able to rely on father, mother, sometimes husband or wife, son or daughter, sometimes the traditional priest, the pastor, the imam, maybe a foster parent close by to make the decision on behalf of that person, which is not then going to undermine autonomy because the person conceptualized or conceived of in an African context is not necessarily just the individual line, but he and the communal others, significant communal others constitutes person. And on that note, we are so done. I've sent you the slides on consequences or rule, and we focus, it's still an ethical question, but we focus on business, ethics in the business setting, so that whilst we do the philosophizing, you can contextualize it for it to be meaningful to you practically. Okay? I want to take your questions now. Thank you, Pink Radio. Please put your hand down. Do you have any questions? I suppose not. We went through everything as if you never saw the lecture. You put up your hand if you have a question. I can still give you 3 minutes to clear them. Pink Radio, your hand is up. Oh. I want to believe that is the old one for the reading. Okay, if no one else has any question, then we are so done. I am contemplating a group.
God bless you so much.
God bless you too, big man. God bless you.
This is Joseph Malfo.
Matthew Joseph.
Madam, please, from me, God bless you too.
You, I've heard you. God bless everyone. I know everyone wants to bless you, so pray for me. Joseph, I read your
And
email.
God bless you so much for always teaching us if it's the first time.
Bless you, madam.
Amen. God bless you all too. If I have good students, then I'm a good lecturer. You see that? Because it takes the wise to see the star. So please get A's for me. As for my marking scheme, they're tight.
Hey, madam.
You do very fast. Them. Ask everyone. I stress you about the grading there.
Madam, how are you doing?
By God's grace. So I want to end the recording so that we can go. The next class will come in. It's the same content, but I'll take it as